I wrote a book 11 years ago. Wow.
Wow.
And it's a trunk book, but I found that whole process like really isolating at the time. But now I'm, trying to be more part of the community. It's so wonderful. Book people are good people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The community is just spectacular. I really
Yeah.
love the community.
Hello, 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 my friends. Thank you for joining me. I'm Nicholas W. Fuller. I'm a writer, I'm a gamer. Here on my channel, I like to talk about books and games and look for cool ways to bring these two passions of mine together. But today, I come to you again as an interviewer and the host of Person Behind the Pages, the show where we get to know the authors and creators that make the things that we love. My guest today is the incredible Thiago Abdalla. Hi, Thiago.
Hi, how are you doing? How's everyone doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for being here. If you don't
Thank you.
know Thiago Abdalla, you're missing out. Thiago's the author of Ashes of Averon series, which is planned to be 4 full-length novels plus a novella. Currently, Book 1, A Touch of Light, and Book 2, A Shade of Madness, are both available for sale. And a prequel novella, A Prelude to Ashes, is available for free if you sign up for Thiago's email newsletter at his website, tabdalla.com, Tabdalla.com. You can pause this video and go check it up. Go snatch it up. It's free. Go for it. Do it. Do it. And you know it's good because Thiago's an award-winning writer. His first book, Touch of Light, won FanFi Addict's Best Indie Book of 2022 award, and it was a self-published fantasy blog off finalist BIFBO in 2022, and a Book Life Review editor's pick. In addition to all that, I've discovered Thiago is also a huge game nerd in the same way I am, so I'm excited to talk about all that. Thiago, thank you again for being here. Just went ahead and knocked it out of the park with book one. You get to racking up all those awards, huh? Just.
Thank you. I mean, I'm excited already to chat about all this stuff. Diablo 4 just came out and
Oh man.
couldn't be more excited playing it. So, yeah, I mean, I've always been a huge fan of games as well as writing and yeah, as you said, like book one it was kind of a surprise to be honest that I I was a finalist for Spiffbo, but it's just been awesome. It's been incredible. It's so I've been so fortunate that people are starting to mildly recognize my name, I guess, and that I can keep doing this and people are enjoying the series. So yeah, it's
Right.
just been great.
Awesome. So I want to get right into questions. And my first question for you, like we have so much to talk about, different games, different books. I want to talk to you about your kids. But before all that, I heard this really weird detail about you from I think it was on TBR Con from Fanfiatic. I'm pretty sure they were talking about you in a panel, and someone said that you hate raisins. Is this
I
true?
do, I do. I
Where does
absolutely
the
hate
raisin
raisins.
hate come from?
I don't know. I think maybe something happened as a kid, and my brain just erased it because it was too traumatic. But I just really hate raisins. I mean, it's not just the taste; it's the like, why do raisins even exist? They're
Wow,
like dried fruit, like it's
just
shriveled
serious
fruit.
hatred.
Just yeah,
Serious hate.
just let the grapes die, man. You don't have to, keep them shriveled up so you can eat them later. Just let them go, let them die.
So like
Make
I'm with
wine.
you a little bit, like in that I don't really particularly like raisins.
Yeah,
And my grandmother, my abuela, who's Argentine, she
yeah,
would put raisins in the empanadas.
yeah. That's pretty traditional for Argentinian empanadas, but
I don't like it.
no, yeah, me too.
No.
Every time, I mean, Brazil and Argentina are technically super rivals, but I mean, Argentinian food is great. It's spectacular, and Argentinian empanadas. Every time, like I find a place which has them. First thing I ask if they use raisins in their empanadas. Otherwise, I just won't order them.
And if they do, it's a hard no, huh?
Yeah, hard no, hard.
Yeah, sounds like there's passion there. I feel like if someone serves you raisins, you're gonna make them a villain in your book or something. But
Oh yeah, absolutely. I once, I had a bet last year with Troy Knowlton when we were doing a readathon, and whoever's team lost had to eat raisins while reading the other person's book. Uh, Thankfully, my team won because I had like two reading machines on my team. Andrew from Andrew's Literally Reads and Esme, uh, who's helping out with Spitball. I think she's a judge in one of the teams this year, which is awesome.
nice.
So thankfully they carried me and kept me away from the raisins. But if you search for a touch of raisins on YouTube, you will see Troy's eternalized moment where he reads my book and eats raisins. He was just such an
Oh
absolute,
man.
cool. He was just such a cool guy about it. He did something so incredible. Troy's awesome. Yeah,
What a champ, but
yeah,
also gross raisins.
yeah. And he hates raisins as well. That's why we
Yeah, well, I
did
mean, it
that.
wouldn't
Yeah.
how it wouldn't be a good bet if he was like raisins are great, right? I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
unless he
yeah,
just trolled you
absolutely.
the whole time. What if he did? What if he actually
Yeah,
secretly likes raisins?
yeah. I mean, then he's a really good actor because you can see the pain in his face on the video when when he's eating them. But
Was
I
it
don't know.
you loved that pain, didn't you? You were like, "That's so glad it's not me."
Yeah, I was glad it wasn't me, but it's like, when you see someone, going through something really horrible, it's just like it hurts you as well.
I feel so bad for you, but not
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
That's funny. So, Thiago, you were born in Brazil. You lived in Brazil your whole life, but you've kind of had a lot of Western, like as we were kind of getting to know you, so much of your, you like your influences that you mentioned are sort of
Yeah,
what I would
yeah,
consider kind of like traditional, like Western fantasy media.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is there like fantasy scene in Brazil at all? I mean, I am American. I've been in the U.S. my whole life, so like I've traveled a little bit, but not enough to know an answer to that sort of question.
Yeah. Most of it's kind of imported, I guess I'd say. It's uh, s- some of it is translated, most of it isn't. I was really fortunate to study at an English school since I was a kid, and everything was in English. It was like considered an actual English, like British school outside Britain. So, and no, I don't have a British accent. I can't explain it either. It's just how things turned out, I guess.
Do
But
other people at the school have like a British accent?
no, no one had
They do.
a British
Okay, all
accent, which
right.
was really, I don't know. I guess it's just the way things defaulted. I don't know,
All
man.
right,
I
sure,
don't know.
sure. I get it.
But my teachers were English, actually, English, like native English speakers, and since I was like toddler until uh probably like 1 year after high school, I studied in school like all day, like from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. speaking English every day. So I was kind of immersed in foreign culture, I guess. Had access to libraries with English books and all that stuff. So
Sure,
maybe it comes a lot from there, I'd say. Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah.
Uh, and again, we were talking just a smidgen before we started recording. You said that your grandparents were Lebanese.
My great grandparents, yeah, on both sides. That's where the Abdallah comes from.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah. So my great grandparents, so my mother's grandparents and my father's grandparents were both Lebanon. They ended up. I don't like. I should know more about my family history, but
I get it. Like
I
I
don't
was
know,
telling
but
you, my grandfather is from Argentina. Um,
yeah,
but he was like he and his brothers, like his father passed away when he was pretty young, and he was like a little hoodlum from all the
yeah,
stories I've heard. So I
yeah,
don't know like family history because
yeah,
they
yeah,
didn't care about it. They were like, where can I kind of get more? He was in the Argentine Navy, came to the United States, met my grandmother, and then when he
oh,
was coming back, they bought a surplus World War II ship from the United States,
oh,
and
cool,
he and like one of his sailing buddies were like smuggling like refrigerators and other stuff into like the boilers of the ship so they could bring. He was a hoodlum. Like
yeah. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
But yeah,
Well,
I mean,
go ahead.
these family stories tend to become, I don't know, wildly inconsistent at times. I just know that I think they were like there was some kind of war in Lebanon. I think it's because they were Catholics and
Mm,
there was some kind of Catholic persecution or something like that, and so they you know, leaving and chose Brazil for some reason.
that's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, my mother was born in Argentina, but her whole family they moved away from Argentina when there was a civil war. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
sucks that war's not good. Good to write about, I guess, but
Yeah. 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 It's good to write about, this cautionary tale, I guess. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know.
Um,
Yeah.
is Thiago a Brazilian name or is it a Lebanese name or is it something
No,
that like your
it's
parents made up or
no, it's very Brazilian. It's very common. Brazilian Portuguese.
nice? I like it.
Uh, and there's like kind of a I'd say Latin American version, just Santiago, which is the
Mm,
capital of Chile.
there
Just
you
as
go.
San is like saint, so it's Santiago.
Hmm.
They just made it into one. But yeah, that's kind of like the origin of the capital
Makes
of Chile
sense.
as well.
Makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah, Santiago is one of the. Tiago is actually the Brazilian or Portuguese version of James, so it's like one of the apostles. People call him Saint or Santiago uh, around Latin America, I guess.
Got that biblical name. Nice, nice.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, if you translate it, like Harry Potter was translated to Portuguese, Harry's father is named Tiago because his name is James in the book.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's actually translated. Like they actually do change the name. So
Did they change Potter or was it Thiago Potter?
no, no, I think they kept Potter. I don't remember because I don't read in Portuguese to be honest. I just
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that and
That's awesome.
subtitles as well, like in the movies. But I think they kept Potter. I think it was two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Kind of like
Which is
iconic
weird
at that
because
point.
I mean, they didn't translate the Harry because it's the name of the book because there is like a Brazilian version of Harry as well. But I don't know. I don't know.
That's
Whatever.
interesting. That's
Yeah. Or there
so.
isn't. No. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway.
No, that's good. That's good. That's interesting. That's pretty cool. And interesting
Yeah.
that you were kind of immersed in all this different kind of Western culture. So,
Yeah.
yeah, on your website, you said Thiago was born in Brazil, but grew up in the fantasy worlds from the stories he kept in his mind. He has inhabited
Yeah.
everywhere from Middle Earth and Azeroth to the plains of Dominaria, Ravnica, and
Ravnica. Yeah.
Tarkir.
Yeah.
No matter the medium, what kept him coming back was always his love for story.
Yeah.
So I have to tell you, as I was reading this, I was like, "Oh, this is a gold mine of conversation topics," you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily want to spend too long on all this, but I do have a few important questions. Are you ready?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so Azeroth is Warcraft. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Horde or Alliance?
Alliance. I've always been an alliance guy. I
Well,
was
Thiago,
Warcraft.
it's been
I
nice.
mean,
We're gonna have to call it.
if you're
I'm
really
kidding.
asking me, then I'm with the Night Elves. But because
Okay.
I'm not a big World of Warcraft player, but I
Hmm.
did play like an unreasonable amount of Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
So
Fair, fair.
so yeah, yeah, Night Elves all the way.
Did you play World of Warcraft at all?
No, I did not. I
Not
just never
even.
got
Wow.
into MMOs. Yeah, I don't know.
That's kind of surprising. Just like, you know, as a nerd, I figured you'd be into it. Well, I say nerd as
Yeah, I
you have
mean,
to understand it's a good thing,
oh
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think my life was maybe just a little too dominated about all the other things.
Yeah,
And if I
fair.
started playing MMOs, I would have to like stop doing all the other games that I was playing, like Magic the Gathering and all that stuff.
See, I
So
think you
I
have
just
more
kind of,
discipline than I do because I like World of Warcraft started coming out when I was in college, and
hmm
literally like some of our college professors who knew they were like, "You probably shouldn't do this, guys," and I was like, "Pfft, it'll be fine," and like it wasn't fine. It wasn't
it
fine.
was I do.
All right,
Yeah, I
Middle
mean, it
Earth.
just never really like the style of the game never really clicked with me. I was a big League of Legends fan, because it
Nice.
was kind of like, like League of Legends like was actually born from let's forget the name of the other one, the original,
Defense of
which
the
was,
Ancients, right? Which was originally
yeah,
a
Dota,
mod.
Dota. Yeah,
Right,
exactly,
right,
which
right.
was a mod, because the ancients were a unit in Warcraft 3. So it yeah, Dota is actually Defense of the Ancients, which was a Warcraft 3 mod, and then the like League of Legends was born out of that. So
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of like a natural progression. Me as a Warcraft 3 fan, like the kind of game. So I did spend a lot of time playing League of Legends as well, but eventually just kind of like moved on to other stuff, I guess.
League of Legends is one of those games where I'm like, man, the game is fun. I like the mechanics. I like that, but the community, whoo, right?
Yeah, yeah. That was what ruined it for me. Is like you depend on four other people
Mm-hmm.
being mature, because if one person like dropped out of your team, it was like, yeah, game over, right?
Yeah, you're
You
done.
you lose, you're done. You just lost like, a bunch of time. So yeah, I
Right.
stopped playing because of the community and
On
people
the one
raging,
hand,
quitting.
I love that the game like forces teamwork. On
Yep.
the other hand, I feel like because it forces teamwork so much, I feel like that's actually a part of what makes the community so bad because like they're looking for someone to blame, you know?
Yep. 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 Absolutely.
It's such a
Absolutely.
shame. But
Yeah.
all right, Middle Earth, another one that you spent your childhood in. How do you feel about the Hobbit movies by Peter Jackson? And well, I'm just going to assume, and you can't refute me on this, that you love the Lord of the Rings trilogy. That I'm just going to take as a given. But the Hobbit
Yes.
movies, that you're allowed to have an opinion on. Go ahead.
Sure. I mean, I was just so happy that they were doing a Hobbit movie when they were doing it, because I actually think I like The Hobbit a little bit more than Lord of the Rings. It's probably just nostalgia because it was the first like real fantasy book that I read that introduced me to all that stuff, and it was just it's got like a this kind of beautiful simplicity about it, right? It's just like, this is the Hobbit. You're gonna spend some time with Bilbo. You're gonna see him growing. You're gonna have a bunch of adventures, but it's all rooted
Hmm.
in character, and it's a simple quest. It's go to the mountain, get the gold from the dragon, right? And there's just something compelling about that that always compelled me as a kid. And I just loved it so much. So I was just so happy when they did a movie, you know.
Sure.
Um, do I like the movies? I mean, I think they're pretty weird. I think Hollywood put their hand in the jar and kind of screwed it up. Like, they wanted a cookie, but they kind of broke all the other cookies to get their cookie, because making it three movies to make more money out of it, and then making the weird kind of like L dwarf uh romance thing, and just I don't know, some there were some questionable choices.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm happy we got to see, cool CG effects of Smog and more Lord of the Rings battles, and some of the Dwarven battles are really cool. But
Yes.
eh,
Yes. Yeah.
you know, is
Fair
it a movie I
assessment.
rewatch all the time?
No. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
I hear you. Whereas for me, the Lord of the Rings, literally, there's been times where I've had the Lord of the Rings on, like just as like background noise while I'm writing.
Yeah, yeah,
But like, and usually I can't do anything with like I can't listen to music with lyrics while I'm writing or stuff like that. But Lord of the
yeah,
Rings,
yeah,
like I know the lines so well that they're just like they're not distracting because they're just ingrained in my psyche anyway.
yeah. You don't even have to pay attention, so you don't waste
Right.
brain space on the. Yeah, absolutely.
Um. All right. Are you a big enough nerd that you've read the Silmarillion? There we go.
I've not read the Silmarillion, but I am, more and more curious as time goes by. When I was a kid, I just saw a few of my friends reading it, or I wouldn't say, just not people I was very close with, but
Hmm.
more classmates, and they didn't have the best opinion about it. And we had an English teacher at the time who said, if you get through the first half, it's really cool, and then the rest is going to be really cool. I don't know. Me as a 12, 13-year old, I don't think I had the patience for that, so I just never jumped on it. And then
Yeah.
never came back to it. But it is something that's kind of like at the back of my mind, like today, you know, 20 or so years later, like,
Right.
yeah, maybe it's cool. Maybe I should read some of it.
Same.
Yeah,
Same. Exactly same.
yeah.
Like, I feel like I should actually. Well, yeah. What about Rings of Power? Have you watched? Did you watch the Rings of Power show?
I have not. No,
Really?
there was just
Yeah.
too many. I just saw too many bad reviews and very.
I
I
thought you
don't
were
think
gonna
I
say
saw
there's just.
one
Go ahead.
good review on that show, and so it's just it's not like, oh, reviews influence me or whatever, but when everyone is saying it sucks, mm, yeah,
I remember
I
the
don't know.
last time I was like, well, everyone says it sucks, but they can't all be right. It was the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender movie. I was like, well,
Oh
okay,
yeah, yeah,
maybe it is gonna suck, but it would be funny bad, and it wasn't. It wasn't funny bad. It was just bad
yeah,
bad.
just
You know.
bad. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
There's the funny bad is still acceptable at times, but yeah, just
right.
bad is just bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Totally agree. I can't
yeah.
remember the name of it now. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm at a stage in life where my time is more precious than ever because I have two kids, so not gonna spend time. I would rather spend time rewatching Arcane, which is my favorite show of all time, uh, rather than just watching. Yeah, and it has nothing to do with me having played League of Legends. Just as a show, it's just so perfect. It's Man,
I
so
keep
good.
hearing good things about it. I really got to check it out. This, but
It's
see, I
so
thought
good.
you said that like there were so many bad reviews about Rings of Power. I thought you were gonna say that there's just so much stuff to watch, which is kind of like, especially as a parent. Like, I mean, my daughter has been sick the last couple days, so I've watched
Yeah,
like a fair bit of Bluey. You know,
sure.
fair bit of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Mickey Mouse
yeah,
Clubhouse.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Spidey
don't
and his
always.
amazing friends
There you
is
go. I got
is
to check that
what
one
I'm
out.
watching every day currently.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, it's like the child version of Spider-Man Miles and Gwen, and
That's fun.
it's like all
Uh,
the villains are kind of like children, I guess.
I gotta check
Yeah.
out Arcane though, because you're not like you're not even close to the first person who I've heard,
So
that just say great things about it.
it is absolutely spectacular. I mean,
Nice.
I cannot rave enough about it. So I won't even start because I won't stop. It's just so good. Just so
It's
good.
Netflix,
Just
yeah, right?
Yeah, it's Netflix. It's Netflix.
Okay.
Just like
And
I have
yeah, you
never
don't have to.
seen a show like do so much with so little and walk a
Mm.
tightrope. Like they're not even struggling. It's like they're like doing somersaults on the tightrope and going just watch me. It is
Watch.
so good, man. It is so good. It is so good.
Wow. All right. All right. Putting
Yeah,
that to the top of my TV TBR.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Plains of Dominaria. That one's Magic the Gathering. So
It is
the key question there: what color?
blue, always.
All right, I can respect it. I'm not into blue so much, but I respect it.
Yeah, yeah. Blue and something, always. Never green.
Does it see? All right. I mean, I kind of like green because I like the giant creatures. Green would
Yeah,
usually have like the giant creatures, and like I
yeah,
enjoy that.
yeah. I mean, I started playing Magic when Urza's Saga was coming out, which is a really old set. Considered to be like really broken. This and like the cards are really strong,
Do you remember
but
what
still,
year that was?
it was 99 or something.
Oh, really? Okay, okay,
I don't remember like
okay.
perfectly. I should, I'll Google it later, but um, it was really like well defined. Like blue was the color of counter spells and
Mm-hmm.
like no creatures or just tricksy creatures like
Mm-hmm.
pixies or fairies or whatever. And yeah, green was all just the big brutish creatures, and I've always been the guy who's like loved the character that outsmarts the big brutish character with their wit and their speed and their skill. So yeah, blue is always for me.
Fair
Stuff
and
has
like
changed now. Like today, like people, I think Wizards got tired of people complaining about blue, so they just kind of made green into the new blue. Like green even has kind of like fake counter spells today, I guess. But don't want to get too technical to the Magic the Gathering stuff. But it still has big creatures like green. Green was largely considered the worst color back then, and
Hmm.
it's like probably close to the top these days. Like most of the top decks. I mean, it's been a while since I've I've managed to play, to be honest, because I've been so
Okay.
focused on other stuff. But I do like come back often. So yeah, I
Turns
mean,
out that
I don't know.
writing books thing takes a lot of time, huh?
Yeah, it's, it
No,
does.
I hear you.
It does.
When
But yeah,
when was
Magic
like
is something that's never gonna. I'm never gonna like stop playing Magic. I know that for a fact. I might just pause for a few sets and then I'll always come back.
when was it like the last time you played?
Oh, that I played probably like over a year.
Okay. See, that's not that
Yeah.
bad. The last time I played was like 20 years ago. And like I kind of want to play again, but I'm like
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that things are going to be so different, you know? Like there's
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
expansion they have new mechanics, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. It's just that I can never just play it casually. Like when I start playing again, I want to just go all in. And that's why I
Mhm.
haven't played because I know it's just gonna kind of consume me, and I just I just don't have the time for it right now. I really don't. It's not like that I don't have like 20 minutes to play a game, but it's not gonna be 20 minutes to play one game. It's gonna be like you know. So yeah, yeah.
I I get that way about StarCraft 2. I don't know if you're a fan, but
I've never played StarCraft 2 a bunch, but yeah,
pretty big esports scene. I am
yeah,
not in the a competitive like that. Like I'm not even good at the game, but like I can't play the game and be like, okay, that was fun 20 minutes. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
let me evaluate the replay and say where like I could have gotten
yeah.
better
Exactly,
at
exactly, exactly.
yeah. Was it a
Where did I
build
go
order mistake, or
wrong?
like did I not have the right concave on my army? Like where did I
Yeah,
how did I miss this one?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's exactly like that. Exactly. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
it's
get it.
it's either that or everything else.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah.
So
We could either get totally involved in this one video game, or we could
yeah,
have a full and
a life.
meaningful life.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Um, but you mentioned your favorite video game. You mentioned this ahead of time is Zelda: Ocarina of Time, which
yep.
solid choice. I have to admit I haven't played it yet. There's so many games that I want to go back and play though. I might try to find that one on an emulator. Did you play it when it was released?
Yeah, I did, and when people ask me what my favorite game is, I immediately go to that game because I can still remember how I felt like booting up that game for the first time. It
Hmm.
was like just like man, it was the same feeling that I felt the first time I heard Star Wars, like the song in the the theme in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Like let's not talk about the sequel trilogy, but the theme was like,
Hmm.
I'm watching Star Wars as an
Yeah.
adult was like that sensation was just like, goosebumps. And Zelda was just that, it was just special. It, I think, you put all the emotions together as a kid and what it meant. It was like this cool fantasy game which you had sword and shield and you had all the different kind of like temples and you had to collect the different gear and now I have the hook shot now I can so yeah. I mean there are more elaborate games today obviously, but
Of course.
it was just special, man. It was, like even Tears of the Kingdom, I haven't played it yet. It's probably really really good. Uh but it's just a different feel for me. Ocarina of Time was just man, it was
Yeah.
so good. It was so good. And that soundtrack, man, everything that went into that sound like there are mini documentaries of the Gerudo Valley song, which is it's kind of desert desert
Hmm.
area, but the song is like on the Spanish guitar and people go, why is it on the Spanish guitar? And there's a whole story behind that. So it's awesome. It's awesome. It's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's because it's Middle Eastern inspired and there was this whole like time in history where the Muslim invaded Spain. So yeah.
The Moors. Yeah.
Choose.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, there's you know there's just so many small details in that game. I really
Love
love
it.
it. And the very, very, very close second, I don't even know if I can call it second, is Diablo 2. So
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Nice.
those are the games that kind of convince me, like
Nice.
go
Not yeah.
into the shop.
What? Okay. I definitely played a good bit of Diablo 2. I played Diablo 3. I actually was just doing like a video series of trying to get through Diablo 3 with a friend of mine who's also a writer, and he had never played Diablo 3, so we were talking about the story of Diablo 3.
Hmm.
Which, I mean, there's a rich lore to Diablo, but like the second act in particular was just crap story wise. Like,
Yeah, the story beats themselves aren't bad. The way
yeah.
that the story is told and what they choose to show you in like kind of crap little in-game cutscenes, like a
Mm-hmm.
very important like character death, and just kind of dies, or this unnamed villain just kills him,
Yeah.
that you never seen before. It's just so weird, man. The choices they made in that game were just weird, weird. I mean, again, I understand, you know, Diablo 2 Blizzard was still like this kind of like
Sort of.
untainted
Yeah.
studio, I guess, that was just focused on the game, and then suddenly they were huge and they had to do something to get more players. So, they make choices to expand their market, and they make it more casual and more colorful, and the hardcore fans hate it. But then, new players also don't see why people love Diablo 2 that much. So, I mean, I get it. And the story was really like, it was not told well, but
Right.
the lore is still really cool. I mean, I have the series that I'm writing after Ashes of Avarion, um, is is very inspired by Diablo lore, and I already have like
Ooh.
a ton of stuff ready to go. So
Well,
I'm
that is
currently in the
super
phase
exciting.
where, yeah, I'm currently in the phase where I have to, keep pushing it away so that I can finish this series, because my brain just wants to write that. Yeah.
I've been working for like a long time. I had this idea like 8 years ago now, and then I set it aside for life, but I picked it back up when I kind of started to get back into writing. So this book that I'm mentioning is called How to P in Zero G, and
Okay.
it's kind of like a cozy sci-fi adventure where the main character is sort of like Mr. Magooing his way through different stuff, but then things are
Hmm.
happening that is going to catch up with him. Um, but then, like, I've got a draft done of that, and I finished the draft, but I just decided that I'm gonna put it aside because I want to give that story more time, because kind
Yeah.
of making the Mr. Magooing part work and be compelling and want to progress you through the story is a
Yeah.
bit of a
Yeah.
challenge. So I'm like, well, I'm going to go start writing this other book. Actually, in fact, I want to make it a trilogy. And so, time will tell if that's a good decision or not. But I understand where you're coming from, because
Yeah.
sometimes the most exciting book to write is the next one that you want to write, right?
Yeah. 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 And I mean, once you get back into writing the current book, you get excited about it as well. But
Yeah.
the way that I kind of try and control that is just every time an idea pops into my head, I have this kind of like a file that I just dump all the ideas in, and I
Mm-hmm.
leave them there, and
Mm-hmm.
then I just keep doing what I'm doing right now. Like,
It's smart. But then
yeah.
it'll be super fun when you're like kind of done with this series, and then you're able to like really dive into that idea
Yeah.
file.
Yeah. I mean, I have like book one probably, like, I kind of know like start to finish everything that's gonna happen. Book one series. So yeah, I'm
So clearly
pretty.
you're more of a plotter than a pantser.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
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 Same.
Yeah.
I realized a little while ago too that like I'm working on a trilogy that How to P and Zero G as a standalone. There's another
I love
story
that
that I
name.
thank you. I appreciate that. Actually, like, I was really debating it for a while because it's sort of like crass, but it sets the tone correctly, and like more people that I've told it to, they're like, I love it, and I'm like, well, it has to be that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just not another title that it could be now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I've got the trilogy. I've got that one. Uh, I've got another idea that I at least want to execute like a short story, but I'm thinking about developing it into like another like trilogy. and then like a 5 book
Yeah.
series after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all of these are like ideas that I wanted. They're ideas that I've like had enough and like kind of thought about enough that like they're not just like, oh, I had this idea yesterday. You know, they're
Yeah.
like developed enough that I know I want to run with them. And I'm like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, I have 12 books I want to write. Maybe, God, I got to get on with this. You know. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, so
Yeah.
where are
Like,
you? Yeah, I know. Like your series, like you're writing 4 books, and clearly you just mentioned another series, or at least another book, right?
yeah.
So how
I
many
have
you
some
got in
crazy
mind?
ideas. I have some crazy ideas of what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to have a connected universe, I'd say. I'm not sure if the connected universe that I want to have, if I want to, I mean, I have the plan to connect it to the current series. I'm just mulling over the idea if I should or not. Because, I don't know. I'm thinking, and now just commercial, you know, commercial thought of people thinking they need to read one series to get into the other and get confusing quickly. It wouldn't be necessary, but I don't know. I'm still thinking about it, but yeah, I've got like 2 or 3 series ideas that I want to write in this kind of like separate, like different, not separate, but different world from Averin, which is the one that I have now. Um, I just want to, throw everything I love in there together. Like a lot of it is based on Diablo. A very big chunk of it is based on Diablo lore. Um, a lot of it is just stuff that I pull from Magic as well. You know, I really want to have this kind of like series just in the city because Ravnica is one of the planes in Magic that's uh it's a city world. So it's kind of like the whole plane is one big city
Mm-hmm.
and it's separated into guilds, right? And there are 10 guilds that kind of like form like how depending on where you are in the city, they run that part of the city. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, depending on the color is like the guilds active. So um I just love that concept. I wanted to have this kind of like big city and just a kind of like illusionist character like Jace in it. I don't know if you played where planeswalkers existed because when I started playing planeswalkers did not exist. So yeah.
Yeah.
um
No, it wasn't. And I honestly, like, I mean, I played the game and I enjoyed the mechanics and whatnot, but at the time, like, I really didn't get into the lore very much. So, again,
yeah,
like, honestly, another reason for me to be cautious and stay away. Like, I
yeah,
have,
yeah,
Magic the Gathering Arena installed on the computer,
yeah, yeah.
but I'm like, do I want to lose my life for, like, because it
Yeah,
would suck
yeah.
me and I know it. It would
I
just,
just I just get home and read like they would have like a new kind of like short story every Wednesday, I think.
that's cool.
Um, or like I don't know how many weeks. And I would just get home and read those on them because they were kind of like experimenting different ways because they tried books and I did read them the a few of the Magic books. Um, and I don't know if they weren't well received, but they just kind of try to mix it up a bit. So they stopped writing novels with every set, and they just started, like releasing various little short stories that gave you more depth to the world. And I was just like eating those up for a few years. So yeah, I really love the MTG lore, and uh, yeah, I mean that's something else that I'd like to explore eventually. Obviously, with my own spin on it and all that, but. You know, there's a lot of it that's it's just like very close to my heart that I want to write about. So, um, those are like, the 2 big ones that I have in mind right now. Um, I did have like ideas for a third, but it's still just so scattered that I don't even remember it. To be honest, if I sit down and try and remember what I thought about, I probably will. But if you ask
Sure,
me off the bat
sure.
right now, like what was the third idea that you had, I just probably don't remember it. That's why I write stuff down.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. I always refer to my phone as my second brain, and it's definitely the better of the two. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, that's awesome though.
Yeah.
Uh, so obviously you have some of your books out now. You're so we're recording this, of course, in 2023. Your
Hmm.
first book came out just March 2022. Your second book came out January 2023.
Yeah.
You're Indie published meaning like, yeah, you're not going through a big traditional publishing house. You're putting books out yourself, which is awesome. Lots of
Yeah.
freedom, lots of ability to put books out kind of quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
how okay? Clearly, you have lots of different ideas.
Yeah.
How long did you work on the first book before you published? And is this an idea you were working on for a long time, or was it something? I don't know. Was there a moment where you're like, "All right, I'm actually going to write this book"? And was writing like your pandemic hobby? Because 2022 publication. Also, by the way, you have a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old, so somehow
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
doing this in between being a new dad. Like,
Yeah.
how do you have hair? How did you not?
Um.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It has been kind of crazy, especially after the second kid. It's like, I mean, I write from like midnight to 3 a.m. usually. That's how I do it.
Wow. Okay.
I'm fortunately I work from home, so it's kind of like I told myself, uh, I can sleep a bit less because I don't have the commute. So just try and get up just a little later. Eventually, I kind of got used to not sleeping that much. So it's actually kind of fine, I guess. Um,
I don't know, man. I need my
but
sleep.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's either that or not right. So I
Yeah.
just write, I guess.
No, fair. I'm glad you did. I'm looking forward to reading your stories. I haven't yet, but I will.
Yeah, I mean, um, I decided to. I mean, I've had the idea of writing a book in my mind like for a while, but it's never been
Hmm.
like a hobby. I've never been like, writing just to write. So in like 2020, just before the pandemic hit, my wife, we discovered she was pregnant, and that kind of sparked it for me, in a crazy way. It's just like I work at a bank, and I don't want to be one of those parents that got home at 9 p.m., don't see your kids, don't have time for your kids, whatever. So I said, oh man, if I'm ever gonna write that book, it's gonna be now. Um, so I did, and you know, I told myself like if I manage to make a career out of this eventually, it's what I want to have the freedom, time to spend with my kids and all that. So, um, yeah, that's kind of how it started, and I told myself I was gonna treat it like college, and started reading books, and separating, all the writing kind of like techniques into these different topics as if they were like, you know, the the subjects that you have in college. So yeah, dialogue, world building, characters, whatever, everything.
Wow.
I ended up like reading, I don't know, was 40 or so like craft books. Um, and start of 2021, I want to say. No. Oh, no, no, I'm sorry. That was start of 2020. August of 2020, I started writing. So yeah, I did that for like a few months, and then I outlined like the entire series for 4 months, like from April to August. I didn't write anything. I just outlined the series because it is kind of like, it is scary to write for the first time. I never even did it as a hobby. I was like, I'm gonna sit down and write, and look, me, I'm not a writer. Uh, yeah, it's
Turns
just
out.
yeah, it was weird. It was weird. Like it's weird to it's a weird experience to start, I guess. But yeah, and I mean, I outlined the series for 4 months and then just started writing. And 9 weeks later, I had a first draft, a very very bad
Wow.
first draft done,
What was the word count on your first draft?
around 140K.
Bro, in 9 weeks? Oh, I'm so jealous. All right.
Yeah, I mean, look, if it helps, like I'm in book three, and I did not write the first draft in 9 weeks because of course your process changes, you learn stuff, all that, but I mean that was the first real like really bad draft, and I had like three or four, five like drafts after that. So I told myself that I was gonna try and spend a little more time and you know do a solid draft, even if it took me longer. And as you progress in the series, you have like you're kind of like carrying all this weight of everything that's already happened that you need to put into
Mm-hmm.
place. So it's a lot harder. You just I thought I would write faster because I would kind of like become a better writer. But even if I do feel like I have become a better writer, the challenge grows like exponentially in sequels. So I I'm not writing faster. Yeah.
If you could go back in time, would you tell like beginning career Tiago, maybe like a standalone would be a good idea?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't regret like going for 4 books because I came up with the idea and I've always been like I told you, magic, everything. It's like, okay, if I'm gonna
Yeah.
do this, I'm gonna really like, do this. I'm gonna really dive in. So I've never been the guy that's just did it like casually. Oh yeah, yeah, that's enough. Yeah, um, I'm done now. Go
Sure.
do some other thing. No, it's like if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be pro. I don't know. I took up boxing for like 6 weeks, and I thought it was gonna probably 6 months. Sorry, and I thought it was gonna go pro or whatever. Not. I didn't think it was gonna go pro, but I was just like shadow boxing and everything, and then 6 months
Yeah.
later, it's like, oh yeah, okay. I think that died down a bit because you can't just like dedicate yourself 100% to every single hobby that you have. But
Right.
um, I've always been this kind of person that really like dives in with my heart and soul, and thankfully, that hasn't gone away with the writing. I'm still like, going strong and happy that I'm doing it, and uh, just hoping to get the series out as fast as I can because I've had this vision in my mind of the series for since the beginning, and I just can't wait for people to read it. I really, really can't. Like, if you read the first book, it doesn't even like scratch the surface of where I'm trying to get to. So, um,
Ooh.
yeah,
And yet, your first book has, it's literally an award-winning book. So, oh,
yeah, yeah,
exciting.
yeah,
That's cool. How like I love the way that you kind of broke it down too. I'm like I'm like taking notes about, oh yeah, like look at it like college, dialogue,
yeah,
world
yeah,
with the
yeah,
different that's smart,
yeah,
super smart.
yeah.
Um how did you decide on 4 books rather than like, a trilogy or something? 4 is kind of an uncommon number.
So there's 2 reasons. First of all, 4 is a very meaningful number in my world because I explore the themes of life and death, and 4 is the number of death in a few Asian cultures. So
Mm,
Um, if you look closely, you'll find a few clues in my books that not everyone picks up, but 4, it's kind of like an important number. Also, I read this book on structure that just kind of like broke down the 3-act structure into 4 blocks because you
mm.
kind of break up the middle act to two. Um, I just found that awesome, and I just kind of you know, adapted
Sure.
that to a
Yeah.
series. So each book is kind of like one block in that structure. So
Sick.
I think that's really helped me avoid middle book syndrome as well. Like nothing happens in the middle.
Mhm. Mhm.
There
Yeah.
are times when I go like, oh, man, couldn't it have been a trilogy? I think that's why books are trilogies usually. It is because of the 3-act structure that people are so used to. Um,
Yeah, I
uh,
think that's fair. And like, yeah, kind of playing to reader expectations, I guess. But
yeah, yeah. But I mean, yeah, there are times like, oh, this could have been the last book. I could be done. I'm kidding. No, I mean, I don't regret, going for 4 because there is content for 4 books. I don't think I could write these books in like 3 books. So it's
yeah.
just what the
No.
story asked, I guess, when I was outlining as well.
Makes sense, man. I
Yeah.
just finished a 12-book series, so like it
Wow.
can
Yeah.
work. It can work.
Yeah.
Not writing, reading, just to be
Yeah.
clear. I
Yeah.
wish it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
um that's cool. Um did you write any like short stories before jumping into novels, or were you like,
No.
was it straight to novel? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And I read a ton of advice saying, "Oh, you should write a novella first. You should write short stories." And I was like, "Nah, I just go for it." Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah,
That was all the thought you gave that, huh? Like, no,
yeah,
not doing it.
yeah,
Fair.
yeah.
It's
And I
worked
mean,
out.
to be honest, it would have helped. It would have helped a ton. But at the same time, what really helped me was editing. You know, I was having a professional editor tell me what I was doing well, what I wasn't doing well. I've just grown a ton. Every time I finish a draft, I send it to my editor, like hoping they're gonna come back to me with a lot of stuff to fix, obviously, but like, hoping they'll say something like, "Oh yeah, you've progressed in this, or you've progressed in that." You know, because at this point, my editor knows all my weak spots. So yeah.
I've got an in-person writing group that we've been getting together for a little over a year now, which is
Hmm.
great. Love it.
Hmm.
And yeah, literally like one this woman in the group, Dana, she's like, Nicholas, you're doing it again. You're doing the stuff where instead of like, well, I have this terrible habit of like while I'm drafting,
Yeah.
I'll show and or like I'll tell instead of show, but immediately after I'll like show the
Yeah.
thing that like and I do a good job of it, but for whatever reason before I did that I tell what's
Yeah.
happening. She's like, just stop doing that. Get straight to the and I was like,
It's actually
I'll
pretty
do
common. I've seen a lot of
it. Yeah.
people do that. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, I feel better about it now. Thank you. um so yeah, you've got the two books out, you've got the novella, yeah, doing more books. I know, again, award winning. What's the coolest or most recent piece of fan art you've seen or received or that sort of thing?
I don't receive a lot of fan art, but I do have the 2-page illustration um that I put in the hardcover for Shape Madness, done
Ooh,
by Sparrow Springs, Sarah Ferrari. It's just Griffin with the warrior in front. You've probably seen it around on Twitter. If you haven't, you know, that is actually something that, like, you mentioned my website. I think, yeah, that is something I'm gonna add to my website that I haven't. But yeah, it's just a spectacular piece. Um, yeah,
that's
it
pretty
comes
cool.
printed in the hardback as well, which I do not have a copy of the hardback right now, but
That's okay.
yeah, yeah.
We'll
I
let it
encourage
slide for
everyone
now.
to check it out. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, where like, well, you have to let us know where we can see that, and I'll put it like a link in the description.
yeah.
Um,
I'll find it. Probably, I think Sarah has it in her portfolio and her website, Sarah Ferrari.
mm,
But I think her website is actually Sparrow Springs. She, I'll
we'll find it.
yeah,
We'll find it.
yeah. I'll find it. I'll find it.
So I know you've been on some like conference panels and like you've done some interviews like this. What's sort of your favorite opportunity that you've had already that like is starting your writer career has opened the door for you that you wouldn't have had you not been doing writing?
Oh wow. I think first of all, you know, just being a Spiffball finalist just opened a ton of doors, and I managed to meet a ton of people. Was really cool. Obviously, you know, Mark Lawrence is my favorite author, and just being able to you know be a part of his community as well and be close to him is spectacular. And you know, I'm part of Mark's Patreon and get Discord access and talk to him a lot. So yeah, I mean, like all that, I would never imagine chatting to any of the authors that I see, like their names on the cover, and like, oh yeah, I'm gonna chat with these guys. I would never imagine that. So I think that's given me, like, you know, some really cool opportunities. But you know, apart from that, I think, you know, having signed versions from the Broken Binding was really cool as well. It was such a cool experience to sign the pages, send them to the UK, and then they put it in the book. And those are actually the only like hand signed book that I have, uh, like that I managed to sign by hand, because otherwise, you know, to order the books to Brazil, sign them, and send them to the US, it's like double international shipping. It's just impossible. So
Sure.
the US, UK, or whatever, wherever
Yeah.
it worked. So um, yeah, I mean, just having, you know, do it with me and be partners was really cool.
That's awesome. That's cool. And I feel you. Yeah, like the more, I wrote a book 11 years ago. Wow.
Wow.
And it's a trunk book, but I found that whole process like really isolating at the time. But now I'm, trying to be more part of the community. It's so wonderful. Book people are good people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The community is just spectacular. I really
Yeah.
love the community. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it changes much. Sometimes I try to squeeze in like half an hour, like during my lunch break. Um, because I work from home, so I get a bit of flexibility. But it's just, that's kind of like my slot for writing, and it has been for a while. So it just guess I'm used to it, and it doesn't change.
Hmm.
Editing or writing, it's just what I have to do today. So how many words I have to write, or how many chapters do I have to edit. No, let's do it. It's actually pretty liberating because I can sit down and watch TV with my wife, for example,
Hmm.
and I'm not like, oh, I should be writing, I should be writing, I should be writing. Just, once I've made the decision that I'm gonna sacrifice sleep to do this, it's just you know I get to do
Yeah.
the other stuff. So yeah,
That's cool. And we mentioned, of course, I mean, obviously, you mentioned your wife, and you have your 3-year-old and your 10-month-old.
yeah.
So somehow you're making time for all of this. Kudos to you.
Thanks, man.
um, are your, I mean, obviously your kids are too young for your own work so far.
Yeah,
Someday,
yeah.
right?
Someday, I hope so.
Are they
They
into
do.
like bedtime stories already, or are you starting to kind
They,
of give them the reader bug, like
yeah, they do love when I read to them. Uh, they do love it. But uh, not as bedtime stories yet. I think they're
No, okay.
yeah.
What stories are they into? What do they love?
Just very hungry caterpillar or whatever. That's
Yeah,
Spider Man at the moment, and the 10-month-old is whatever you read to her. But
fair, fair, fair.
it's just like the kind of like traditional kid stories, I guess.
Yep. My 2-year-old every night. My 2-year-old, like I get to read her. What sound does a goat make?
Yeah,
What sound does a lab
yeah,
make? Bah,
yeah, yeah.
she
It's those
loves it.
kind of books. Yeah, yeah. It's those kind of books.
Yep.
Yep.
But we'll get there. Someday she'll read my stories and stuff. And the ten
Yeah.
year old still hasn't like. Actually, the 10-year-old saw my. He loves watching YouTube. He's seen my channel and he's like, "Why do you make boring videos?" So I got that going for me.
Yeah, I mean, feedback, man.
He'll get there.
Yeah.
All right. So I've got another question. This one's kind of a weird one. If you could invite any 3 people to a dinner party, who would you invite?
Okay. Real or fictional?
See, that is a great. This literally is a question that I used when I was dating, and my wife asked that, and I was like, I love that you asked that. Like, and then she also was like, do they have to be alive or could they be dead? And I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, so uh, I would say either, or if you want to do a set of 3 that are real and then a set of 3 that include fictional, you could do that.
Okay. So real, I don't know. I have so many people. The thing is, I can't just pick three. I have to cheat because living in Brazil, I've met so many like incredible authors that I consider to be my friends and that I would love to just have dinner with. Um, and then, just to talk about nothing, but
Nice.
I have to like go to conventions and all that. So, I think if I name names, I'm gonna be leaving people out. But all the like, I have a ton of friends in Mark Lawrence's Discord, like Kian Ardenlin, uh, uh, a ton of people that like Shauna Lawless, a ton of people that probably you will know in the future that you probably don't know now. But all the people there are just super cool. And then just so many cool people that I talk to all the time online, like Dr. John Morrow, who reviews for a few places like Grimdark magazine. And if you heard him
Hmm.
talk about glass, he's just like super passionate about glass. He's one of, like, I think the or one of the inventors of Gorilla Glass. That's just
Oh
like
wow.
how deep it goes. He's just a super expert. Mark Lawrence, obviously, my favorite author, and just some super cool friends like Tori from Tori Talks, Andrew, Sarah, Andrew Meredith. Sorry, I just and then oh man, AR with all of my Bengali. I just have like so many people that I've become friends with, and that I just love to have over and chat for dinner. And I just need to apologize in advance because on the spot I probably have names that slip my mind. If people know my mind as a sieve, so Patrick would be one to, like, super cool to chat to, and Mike from Mike's Book Reviews. I mean, I'd have him over for like a game, watch baseball or football or whatever, and just you know rib each other because our teams are rivals. But you know,
You said
yeah,
football, but I imagine like
no football, like American football. Yeah,
American. You're an American football fan.
yeah. Seahawks, man.
Oh, see what? Wow. Okay. All right. I mean, respect. They're a good team. They're good. I don't know if you can. Yeah. There we go. Now I moved. There you go. That's a cheesehead. Oh yeah.
Ah, yeah. Oh man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Sad Packers fan. Oh no.
Whatever, man. I like my Packers. One day I gotta see a game at Lambeau Field. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I actually have been to the Cent. I'm never gonna call it Lumen Field, but yeah, might have was called Century Link. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it is spectacular.
That's
It's
pretty
awesome.
rad.
Yeah, yeah, and because I mean, it all started with football, and I just kind of like adopted Seattle, and it was like, okay, I'm not gonna ever support a different sport, like a team from another city in a different sport, because I'd be, betraying Seattle. So naturally, I became a Mariners fan. And all that.
There you go.
You know, Mike is a Houston Astros fan, and a pretty big rock there. So,
Oh wow.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So I mean, I have a ton of people over, and it would have to be like a huge dinner party because there's too many people I'd like to have dinner with.
If you're having that dinner party, I want to come. That sounds amazing.
Absolutely, absolutely, everyone. Yeah,
That sounds so cool. Yeah, that's
yeah.
nice. Um, all right. All right, Tiago. I've got one more thing. So I'd like you to participate in this recurring segment I call "How Dare They."
Okay,
So I just sent you on Discord. I asked you
okay,
ahead of time for your favorite book, and you said, of course, a series, but I brought it down to "The Girl on the Moon" by Mark Lawrence. And so
okay.
what I did is I got a 1-star review from this book.
Oh no. Okay,
Oh yeah, yeah.
okay. I read
So
it wrong, but okay.
that's the right answer. That's the kind of yes. That's what I want. So give me, some South American passion and
Yeah.
please read this 1-star review for us. And feel free at any time you can stop and be like, how dare they?
Okay. So I should read through this
Mm-hmm.
review.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 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 It just started all wrong. Calling the moon. Yeah. Like, the book isn't about magic. Like, ugh. Okay. Okay. So the guy's complaining that they're not sold on the main character, which is just hogwash. I mean, it's one of Mark's best characters. First of all, second, sell me on their words, not mine. A magic pixie Eskimo girl, right? First of all, they claim to like Book of the Ancestor, which is the series prior to the Book of the Ice, which is the book that we're talking about, The Girl in the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And if they understood that magic system, they wouldn't be calling Gaz the magic pixie Eskimo girl. So yeah, it just started all wrong. Uh, but hey, it's your opinion, man. So whatever. Uh,
Yeah,
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 I
yeah. I
mean,
mean, it is their opinion, and opinions are valid. But at the same time, no, you're right. They're
yeah,
wrong.
yeah, they are wrong. Uh, yeah, they say they kept waiting for an amazing twist, cameo, or crossover.
Hmm.
Uh, oh no, okay. That they actually admit that it was an amazing twist cameo crossover, which I was gonna say it is an amazing twist. If you're saying it isn't, but yeah, okay. Uh, yeah, I mean they just go on and on about if it was really necessary or whatever, as if it were fan service. And it's not. It's like this book is a culmination of
Hmm.
every Mark Lawrence trilogy or series that he's written, right?
Oh wow.
There are like little pieces scattered throughout like every series of his, and this book ties them all together and does that spectacularly. So, I mean, I can understand if the person didn't like it. As you said, it's their opinion, but it's also wrong. So,
I used to joke with
uh,
my dad about even like silly stuff. He would say like I can't, but like something we would disagree, and I would be like, well, everyone's allowed to be wrong about something.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't find. I'm just reading it quickly, but I didn't find
Hmm.
like a cohesive thought. Sorry, a cohesive thought other than I didn't like the main character.
Yeah,
I don't understand why you would get to book three and give it 1 star if you didn't like the main character. Like, if you don't like the main character, you stop at book one, my
that's a good
friend.
point. That's a good point.
But hey, uh, yeah, I mean,
How
I'm
dare
happy.
they?
Yeah, how dare they? I mean, I'm happy they got the experience, and maybe in time they'll see it. But it is a spectacular book.
Maybe they'll see this someday, and they'll
Yeah,
see that they were wrong. No,
yeah, yeah.
that's okay. Opinions are good, but I think this is kind of fun to also realize that there's no book that's for everyone. You know?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm saying all this jokingly. Obviously,
Yes, yes, yes,
everyone's
yes.
entitled to their opinion.
Of course.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no books for everyone.
Yep.
I'm currently reading The Dragon's Path by Daniel Abraham. It's one of the books that I'm reading,
Hmm.
and I actually asked this on Alan's Discord. Oh man, Alan is one I would love to have for dinner. Alan was like the first guy who picked up my
He's
book,
the
and
Library of
yeah, Library
Alexandria.
of Alexandria. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
He's like the guy who put me on the map always, and yeah, I'm just super thankful to him. And I'm always like in his Discord, and he's a very big fan of Daniel Abraham. And I just asked him, I was like, guys, why does this book have like a 3.8 rating on Goodreads? Like, there's nothing in this book that's oh, this is like controversial and people are gonna rate it low, or oh, you know it's super slow or whatever. I just couldn't find a reason. And I
Hmm.
guess that book really is for me, and it's not for other people. So, you know, it's just the way it works.
Yep.
No
Yeah.
book is for
Yeah.
everyone. You might love something, and people might hate it, and that's absolutely fine. I see a lot of people sometimes apologizing to people like, "Oh, I'm sorry I didn't like the book you like." It's like you don't have to apologize. I'm not gonna like it less because you don't like it. It's like it's your experience. It's fine. You can not like it. It's absolutely fine. It's not going to change the way I experience the book, right? So yeah.
Right.
Anyway, no book is for everyone. Yeah.
Fair, but again, like you've wrote some bangers. Clearly, like yours. People should check out yours. So
Yeah. I
this has
mean,
been
I
super
hope people see
fun.
it that way. I love them. I'm really proud of the story that I'm telling, and yeah, I'm excited to finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here, Chiago. This has been super fun. I've enjoyed talking with you. Where can people find and
Yeah.
follow you online?
My link tree is probably the easiest place. Link tree. It's link T. I don't know. It's the dot
We'll put a
is
link in that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
is in a weird spelling. It's like Linktree /T Abdalla. which is, yeah, I use T Abdalla so that people don't have to remember how to spell Thiago. So
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, T, the letter T, Abdalla,
yeah,
Abdalla.
yeah, yeah,
But Thiago is Thiago.
Geo, yeah,
Kind of pronounced like Chicago, sort of, right?
yeah, like cheek or cheese, like as in
Yeah.
cheese head, yeah,
Jeez.
yeah,
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So go check out T Abdalla online. You can follow him on Instagram, I think Twitter. Definitely check out
yeah,
his website. And you can go sign up for his email newsletter and get his novella for free, which is a heck of a
absolutely,
deal. Obviously, can't beat
yeah,
free.
yeah.
You know. I'm assuming that novella too is like a good entry point into like the whole story, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little more contained. It's only like focused on one of the POVs from Such a Light. It has three. So if you're kind of scared that it's gonna be overwhelming, you can start with the novella, test out my writing if you like it or not.
Yeah.
It's free. It's also free on Kindle Unlimited. Like all my novels are on Kindle Unlimited. Not the novella. That's only for newsletter subscribers, but both full-length novels are on Kindle Unlimited. So
Nice.
yeah.
So check it out, guys. All right. Well, thank you again, Thiago, and thank you for watching. If you like this video, of course, please give me that like, give me that subscribe. I'm going to be doing lots more of these interviews. This is only season 1 of Person Behind the Pages. There's going to be more, but
Awesome.
thanks for watching. And if no one's told you today, you're an absolute legend.